Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about adding and editing repeaters. The first step you're going to want to do is open the little search icon that's here underneath the logout button that's kind of floating on the map. And you want to search for your call sign of your repeater. So I'm going to look for Whiskey Niner Alpha Lima Bravo. I'm going to hit go. Notice it found it. It zoomed into that repeater. It opened the little dialog context window. It's important to do this even if you're adding a new repeater, because you might think, hey, I looked at the map, I can't find my repeater, but it might be there, it's just got the wrong lat long. And we didn't know the latitude and longitude when we added a lot of these repeaters, so we just spread them kind of randomly about the city that they're in. So always do a search. That way, if you find it, you just correct the lat long and you're gold. So we found our repeater. We're going to open up, the one thing you need to do is open up the properties window. That's that blue button in the upper left toolbar. It opens up this guy here, the properties dialog. You can see the sticky header at the top. It's got a pencil icon, which is in blue. It's got the plus icon, which is for adding. The pencil's for editing, by the way. And then the group of users is for nets. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil icon, and that pulls up this edit repeater dialog. The first thing, obviously, is the call sign. So now I'm editing. I have the output frequency here. I have the duplex, which I can do negative, positive. Now notice that this is, if the input frequency is in gray, meaning you can't edit it, I'm going to change the duplex from positive to negative, and you can see that change. This will do all the math for you based on the offset. If you do a split, you can actually input a frequency there. Let's go back to where we were. Then you have the tone. You have the CTCSS, what's that? Continuous Tone Coded Squelch System. Basically your input and output, what they call PL tones. You can select those, change those. This little text in blue down here, you notice as I'm tabbing around, that kind of gives you a little context on what these controls do. So let's switch to the mapping tab. Here you can change your lat long, and you can tell whether it's precise. This is important. If you know the exact latitude and longitude, then select precise. If you only know the city and you're going to plop it down somewhere, turn off precise and say guess. That helps us know that these aren't precise coordinates. Now also, notice if I change the, let's go ahead and backspace over this and just put 888 or something. Notice that my city now is gone. See the city here? It says I have to select a city. That's because I changed the lat long. It doesn't really know what city or where this is. You might have moved it 3 states over, hopefully not. But anyway, if you go to select city, you'll see there's this city dialog here. And the ones with the green little check box next to them, those are actual real incorporated cities. The other items in here or unincorporated areas and stuff like that. You can choose whichever one you want. Typically, you'll want one of these green cities. And the reason why these come up like this is we don't allow people to freehand this data in. Otherwise, you just end up with absolute garbage. So this is all driven from the census data of the United States. So, and it fills in these 3 gray boxes down here. You also have the antenna height, which everything is in feet. We convert that to meters in the database, but always enter your data in feet. If you know it for sure, then select the precise. Like I know that this repeater is precise, 150 feet above ground. Now, we also didn't know the true above ground levels. So we kind of, if we didn't know, we gave everything 150 feet. That's why you'll see 150 feet on a lot of these, and the precise checkbox is not checked. But if you know that, then great. Set that and say precise. Information, this is, is it coordinated? Is it operational? Is it an Aries, Racist, Skywarm? And then let's go to linked networks. Maybe these are linked networks, repeater to linked networks. Sorry, it's a little early for me. Maybe it's in SARnet, right? I can say SARnet and save that, or I could even add another, let's close this. I could add another linked network right in here, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to save this, but that's basically it. You really have your main radio features. This is basically what's required to connect, like in Chirp, for instance, or even just talk on your radio. The mapping is just nice to know. The lat long is important for charting and stuff like that. And also, it's also driving the location on the map. And then you have linked network. So let me go ahead and cancel out of that. One thing also, if you notice on this repeater, notice it says you own this repeater at the bottom. I own that repeater. So that means basically nobody else can edit that repeater. If I switch over here, I switch to the tab. This is the owner dashboard for my repeater. And I have stats on, things that are happening to it. I can go into, as a owner, I can set the status and maybe mark it as offline, as having maintenance, things like that. So once you claim a repeater, if you're the true owner of a repeater, you have this owner dashboard, and you can also edit from this side of the dial as well. So let's do one more thing. Let's look at add real quick. Let's hit add. It's basically the same thing as the edit, except for you're starting with no information. And the first thing you would need to key in is your call sign. Let's just type some garbage in there. It will validate that on save. If it's not a real repeater, if it's not a real call sign, you'll get an error and stuff like that. And the frequencies, just key all that stuff in like you normally would. So let's just do this. Let's just put 444. Okay. Notice it filled that out. It took the normal defaults for that band, for the 70 centimeter band, and gave you a positive at 5 and calculated the output frequency. But you might be different. You might have a negative, and you might have some funky offset. So there you go. And you can set your tone mode and then so on. Let's just go ahead and let's put in, I don't think that's even a real lat long, but I think if I do them, I'm probably getting in over the weeds here. We're not going to go through that right now. But basically fill all that out, hit submit, and you've just added your repeater. Now, one thing important to note is when you add or edit repeaters, that goes into a queue. It's reviewed and then approved, and it becomes part of the map. The moment it becomes part of the map, anybody that's refreshing their screen will see that on the screen. So those do go into a holding pin unless you're an owner. When you're an owner and you edit, your changes are real. They go right into the database in real time. They don't have to be approved, so people see them right away. So anyway, I hope that was useful. Be sure when you're adding to search for your repeater. It might be in there. It just might have the wrong latitude and longitude. Anyway, I hope that's a useful overview of adding and editing repeaters. Anybody can add and edit a non-claimed repeater. Just please enter valid information. Thank you. Bye.